I'm excited to have you here. Again, thank you for joining. Today's topic is supplements. Have you ever wondered, hey, is what I'm taking actually helping? And are there risks of supplements? And at the end of this, I'm going to be able to share with you an easy mnemonic for ways that you can know that the supplements that you're getting are of the higher quality and have the highest chance of, providing what you're hoping for. At the beginning of when patients come on to become patients, I have a agreement, and in it is a supplement clause. Why? Because I'm a medical doctor, and there are patients that want to use supplements, and I have access to supplements, but it's important to understand the risks and benefits. And so, a couple portions of my statements are that they're not FDA regulated as drugs. And we're going to talk about that and the difference. Um, that there are specific supplement companies that have a lot of proprietary blends, and it's hard to know exactly what's exactly in there and to identify the specific ingredients. Also, that some supplements interact with medications, and then also that as you take supplements, we hope they're going to do what they say they're going to do or provide that supplementation. But at the end of the day, we still need to keep tracking labs, tracking symptoms. Quick story. So I was seeing patients, and like this is back in the day, and I mix age and data and names, or not names, but genders, just so there's no HIPAA stuff. But there's a patient, she came in and she's like, "Yep, here's my supplements that I'm taking. I've had these symptoms for, about a year. I don't know, other docs haven't figured it out, and I don't know why I'm feeling like this." And we go through a history and physical exam, and I said, "Let's just get a couple labs." And in that was a vitamin D lab. And the levels were above 100, up to like 130, 140. And some risks with vitamin D is you can have a toxicity. And this just kind of goes to show, and this patient in what we figured out is there was a toxicity and was causing some of these symptoms. Not all of them, but some of them. And that because we knew that supplements affect the body, we're able to look for the right labs and then appropriately dial back certain supplements. So it's important. And here at Trails to Health, we treat we treat medications and supplements very seriously because they can have a helpful or harmful benefit. All right, so let's now go into the definition. Okay, let's define and if you can't hear me when I turn, let me know. Um, I have this mic on that should help. So, definition of a supplement is it is a supplement to the diet. That means to me, I think I hear that and I say, okay, so these ingredients are found in foods. And if you know us well here at Trails to Health, we love taking a food first approach because I'm going to go off on a small tangent here, but because I love this, because sometimes the ingredient is augmented by the package. And a example of this is you can think of, sure, I'm going to do a Walmart supplier, okay? There may be a wonderful product, and let's say we want Walmart to be able to distribute this through all their stores. Well, what if we just had like 30 of these and put them on the door of the decision makers at Walmart? That's it. Just like a lot of them. There you go. And the guy wakes up, they wake up and they open their door and it's like, what is all these toys here? Like, what are they doing? Get them out of my way. I got to go to work. Versus a package. What if we had a welcome little balloons and a healthy breakfast and someone there to explain it and also a demonstration with a child? And there's this package for this ingredient or this, toy we're gonna go for the Walmart distributors. There's a difference. And I think about that with these supplements. Sometimes they're isolated, which sometimes we need when you're going to rebalance the body Okay, there's an out of balance and we need to push it back into balance. We have an abundance of that ingredient to push it in. And then we can use foods with that ingredient to get a great package and allow the body to synergistically and harmoniously utilize that ingredient in all of its ways. Okay. I have so much more I could go off on that, but I just want to talk about it. So one part of supplement is it's intended to supplement the diet. Number two is it contains one or more dietary ingredients. And what's a dietary ingredient? A vitamin, mineral, an herb, botanical, or amino acid. So it has one of those ingredients. Next, it's intended to take by mouth. Okay, it's got to be a supplement taken by mouth. And then last, on the label, it says it's a dietary supplement. Okay, so definition, labeled, we've got an ingredient that's usually found in food. So I'll put in parentheses food here. And then by mouth. Okay. So there's definitions for this. Next, we're going to talk about the difference between a food and a drug. Okay. And I think that's important because then we can see how FDA will regulate supplements. And I think this is important as we're taking supplements to read the claims. I'm going to show you this book I've got, two of them that I really, really like, Food Politics and Appetite for Profit. In this, it totally just helps you get into the behind the scenes of why food is maybe processed the way it is marketed the way it is. And it, for me, it totally gets past the front label of food. I'm like, I can now see some intentionality behind that and why they made it the way they made it. And they talk about, oh, and even a different book, Salt, Sugar, Fat by Michael Moss. He talks about the 5 minute instant pudding and kind of the war of how they started to determine how they could create this. And some of the, I want to be careful. I don't want to like fearmonger here, but somewhat some of the corners that sometimes people can take to create a certain thing and sometimes jeopardize health for product. And so that's something that's helpful is going back to why we're separating between food and drug is to know what can the FDA regulate and what can a supplement company just say, hey, here's this claim, here's this information we have, and to be able to look as a consumer knowledgeably. All right, so let's look at the difference between here. So supplements. So I'm going to say food, and here is drug. All right, so as a medical doctor, a doctor of medicines, a doctor of drugs, that's what we are. Um, they can make certain claims. Just give me 1 second. Um, so drugs can say this drug can help us diagnose. It can help us treat. It can help us prevent. Thinking of statins right here. Prevent and then also mitigate a disease. So the specific disease, we have a prevention for it. We have a treatment for it. We can have something that might mitigate it. And that's why in the medical realm, uh, like I'm a Western medicine trained physician, we go, what is the diagnosis? How can I help with my medicines? Okay. How can I help with my medicines? Now, I'm going to go off on a little side note that I think is helpful. There are numerous societies, Endocrine Society, Cancer Society, American Heart Association, so many other societies that they have, okay, here's how to help with the disease. And you know what they have as the number one usually? And this gives me goosebumps, lifestyle modification. And that's huge. Number one, not number five, number seven. They say the number one thing we can help most with this disease, yes, I'm getting riled up here a little bit, is lifestyle modification. And what's tricky? Oh, hey, there's a handout at the end of the fax, the fax machine that you can read for lifestyle stuff. it's not given in great quantity and delivered in a beautiful package to these patients to help with their disease. And I'm not going to get off here, but if we want to, one day we can go totally off on this because it's just so alarming as a medical doctor and to patients where it's like there's just differences like where the alignment is for insurance reimbursement and where the alignment is for patient turnover. So we go to here at Trails to Health into what is the disease and what is the best evidence-based ways to address this. What does the literature say? That was totally a tangent. We're coming back now. So there's the drugs. Um, what else? So that's it. So what can we have with food? And if you remember it, supplements are a food ingredient. So foods, you can have certain health claims with foods. We see that all the time on Cheerios and oatmeal, you know, a dietary pattern of high whole grains or low cholesterol has been shown, like at a certain number of grams, has been shown to have a decreased risk of heart disease. Like we see that all the time, right? Like a claim. And that goes into Merriam-Webster's book or Merriam-Nestle's book. And just like there's so many other things behind that, right? Anyway, next is we're going to go off a little more on this. So a nutrient content claim. So, hey, the nutrients in this food can actually decrease the risk of diseases. I know I kind of blended those, but decrease risk of disease. And then what else can food say? They can also say there's like a structural or functional claim. And this is different than a disease claim. They can't say in the structure and functional claim, this is like it can affect certain organs or organ systems. So they can say that. And this is going to be fascinating. If you're going to go to a grocery store, look for this. Look for some of these claims to decrease the risks to help a certain organ system from food. Okay. Um, so now I'm going to go into a little bit of the FDA and um, a little bit of what they regulate within supplements. So this is fascinating. If a supplement, which is a food ingredient, was sold in the United States before October 15th, 1994, they are not required by the FDA for their safety before they market it. And this was because of a law that was established on that date. So if there's a supplement that was made before then, you can use that same supplement and FDA is not going to regulate the safety there. But if you have a new supplement, a new food ingredient that you're going to use, then the FDA has more oversight into its safety. Um, and then let's see, there's a couple more things. So I'm just going to read the statement I think is fascinating. Unlike drugs, um, there are no provisions in law for FDA to approve dietary supplements for safety or effectiveness before they reach the consumer. And I know I talked about after 1994, but still, it's not the safety thing. There's not huge literature on supplements, and there's not even regulation where it says, hey, this isn't safe. This has like harm to animals. This has harm to humans. Whereas with drugs, they have to go through multiple rounds of trials to make sure it's safe. Does that make sense? All right, so we're coming up on almost time. There was a couple more things I wanted to share. Oh, this was one more thing I just thought was helpful, and this will get us into a different realm. Standardization. So there was a study by John in JAMA that said, hey, we're going to take these vitamin D supplements from different companies, different, pill bottles, and say, is there the same amount? Is there the same amount of vitamin D? And what they found was there's a difference all the way down from 9% to above 100% of the specific active ingredient. And as you hear that, you realize there this one capsule I take today may be a little different than what I take tomorrow. And again, that's just another plug of making sure that we are watching labs and knowing what to expect from that supplement. Uh, There's $28 billion, over 100 million Americans take supplements. That's a monstrous industry, and that's a lot of money. And it's evidence to show that people want to be healthy. People want to do good things for their body, and the marketing of supplements is huge, is huge. And that's to their credit, but it's just we need to know, why are we taking this? Is that giving us the benefit that we're looking for? Does that make sense? All right, so talked about the vitamin D, talked about the standardization. There is no standardization, but let's get into the mnemonic for ways that you can figure out or have a higher probability of taking a supplement that is a little more consistent with what you're looking for, has the ingredients. Um, so it is I.T.R.I. That's the acronym. All right. Hey, I'm seeing something here. I'm gonna do something different. We just talked about how many people want to stay healthy. We're gonna say I All right, that's the acronym. So I is the ingredient list, and this happens when I go through supplements with my patients. Is the front of the front of a package, I almost like don't even care about. Like, sure, it says okay, whatever's blend and whatever. I go to the back. I go to the back to look at the ingredient list. How much zinc? Well, there's this proprietary blend with, 80 milligrams of zinc, blah, 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 blah type. No, what's the actual like ingredient, just zinc, right? Or elemental iron. I don't want to know the iron blend and all that. I want to know the elemental iron. And so that's an important first step. What's on the ingredient list? They have to order things in orders of prevalence for food by weight usually. So what's the most is going to put first. But in the ingredient list of supplements, it's usually on in the ingredient list, and it will say how much is on that far right side. Okay. All right. Next. So T. T is third party tested. This is important. Why? I think it's important to align incentives in medicine, in life, just what is it you're trying to get from this? And if the incentive of a health company, a supplement company, is to actually provide health benefits to somebody, they're going to be willing to go third party test and say, hey, check our supplement. Check to make sure that it has what we say it has in it. Because guess what? Some of these supplement companies may outsource their processing. Oh, yeah, there's this company out in Bulgaria that says they're going to give me their B12. Great, yeah, throw it in there. Did you go to that? Did you go to that company? Did you go to their processing plant? Did you have a mass, liquid chromatography? I know exactly, how uh, specific that ingredient is. Third-party testing, which is USP, and there's another one, NSF, and there's others, but these are two that I've liked. They can check for potency, purity, and safety. So third-party testing, and sometimes they have that little, what do they call that? Banner or shield or whatever on a supplement to show, yep, this has been third-party tested. Okay. Ingredient third party. And then the R is reputation. Okay. I am super close of moving forward with the relationship with a supplement wholesaler so that I can get supplements for my patients. And it's important that we identify and learn the reputation of the brands that will be represented and that I'll be sharing with my patients. And that's important, right? How long has this brand been along? Who is this brand affiliated with? There's a lot more that you can do with that reputation. And then the last is, let's see, third party tested and independent testing. Again, important to have third party. I knew that was weird, right? Third party certification. I was like, we have two testings going on here. Certification. So, independent testing. Did another company test for the purity of this? So, supplements have their place, can have a place. It is important, again, to know why we're using this supplement and testing for the benefit. It's an ongoing, evolving process, ongoing, evolving, um, um, like realm of health. And, that's why we do our best to stay on the cutting edge. There are fantastic individuals out there that you can follow, that you can learn from. I would encourage you, as you follow individuals, find where their incentives are. If there's someone, and I'm not going to say any names, but if there's someone that is, you know, uh, promoting a certain supplement, ask yourself, are they being paid by that supplement company? Most likely, like almost guaranteed. And what's the incentive that they're sharing this? What data are they claiming? What claims are they making? Is this disease claims? Is this, the other food type claims? And then if there isn't a lot of that, and they're looking at the data, that's helpful. And then to learn how to go into the data. And if ever you want to send me something that's specific study, data, claims, I love looking at medical literature, and be happy to look into that. So this concludes our supplements. Oh, I forgot I did say that I talk a little bit about diabetes, um, and ooh, Alzheimer's as well. Alzheimer's as well. And I looked up the diabetes stuff, and there's a link. It's a correlation, sometimes not causation, but there's a correlation between individuals with low vitamin D levels and type 2 diabetes. They've looked at some causation stuff to say, hey, if we give people vitamin D supplementation, do they decrease their risk? And there was large studies that were done with thousands of people, and they didn't really see. So the other research said, hey, people with low vitamin D levels usually develop diabetes. And then the other research said, if we give people vitamin D, is it going to prevent diabetes? And there wasn't anything across the board in general sense, but they did find those that had low vitamin D, I believe it was less than 20, that when they were vitamin D supplementation, there was some improvement and some help in that risk. So there's that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send out, for those that are here, a email on the Alzheimer's information. I know that's super important, and I want to get it in writing so that you're able to like have that for some data, that there are some supplementations that there are some decreased risks. Okay, trying to be careful with my wording here to make sure it's in alignment with what you can say. Okay, so that's it. Now I'm going to open. This is now open office hours Q&A.